Wake up, babe. A morsel of information was dropped about the next Battlefield game once again at the EA earnings call, and I wanted to talk about this, go through it with you guys, and this one is a doozy. A doozy? Does that make sense? What is a doozy? I've just heard Americans say it. I don't even know if it's a good or bad thing, but whatever. So we're gonna have a look today. So Battlefield was mentioned a couple times. First time in the opening remarks from Mr. Andrew Wilson. He's the CEO of Electronic Arts, and he said here, as Season 7 of Battlefield 2042 wraps up, one thing is clear. Each season of the game has shown our team's unique ability to listen, learn, and draw inspiration from the community to deepen connection with the franchise. Players continue to be passionate about the Battlefield franchise, which has surpassed over 25 million players over the last 12 months. The community is energized by what our teams are doing and excited for what comes next. This is not just one of our top priorities, it is also one of the most ambitious projects in our history. We have brought together the very best team, coupled with the resources and technology they need to deliver an epic Battlefield experience. And then a little bit at the end, when they were talking about free-to-play games and how successful they'd been for EA, they mentioned Battlefield here too. So as we think about American football, as we think about Apex, as we think about Battlefield, as we think about The Sims, our belief is that if we're building out for a global player base of over 3 billion players and we're looking to build communities in and around our biggest IP, yada yada yada, so there could be some kind of free-to-play element for the next Battlefield. And I think he talked about this in a previous earnings call too, so no information on what that might be, but I think most people are assuming it's going to be some form of a battle royale game. So in total, Battlefield was mentioned 5 times in the whole investors call. I think a lot of what was said there is just marketing fluff. I don't think the community is energized by what the teams are doing for the next game. Maybe there are some out there that are cautiously optimistic, but after 2042, I think a lot of people have just lost trust in the franchise, right? So I don't really agree with that statement there, but who cares? But 25 million players in the last 12 months, that's pretty crazy. It's good in one sense because it shows that there's still millions of people playing Battlefield in the last year. Crazy numbers, really. But I genuinely think this is also a problem for EA because those 25 million players are spread between lots of different Battlefield games, and Battlefield has always had this problem. I think they couldn't really unite the whole community. I'd say they had it the best in BF3. Yes, it was more arcadey than what had come before, but it introduced a ton of new people to the franchise who really enjoyed it, and BF3 was kind of seen as the first true sequel to BF2, and I think a lot of the core Battlefield fan base jumped on BF3 and really enjoyed it. I did anyway, as someone who's played all the Battlefield games before. BF3, there was just something about it. It had that gritty, realistic feel. It had cool maps, destruction, classes, regardless of how broken it was at launch, because it was pretty bad. But, you know, they fixed it mostly. The issue, though, is that a lot of people are on BF1. A lot of people are on BF5. A lot of people still play BF4. Some people still play BF3. Bad Company 2. Some of those people are on 2042. And also, remember, in the last year or so, I think 2042 has had a couple of free weeks or weekends, whatever it was, where you could hop on. At one point, I think it was the PlayStation Plus game where you could redeem it, right? So there was like a ton of PlayStation players. And if you've got Game Pass Ultimate, which a lot of people have, it's on that too. The EA games are on there. The point is, many people can get this game for free. Not saying that's a bad thing, but there's been plenty of ways to get access to 2042, for example, in the last year or so, significantly inflating those numbers. I feel like the launch did so much damage to 2042, and even though they've done a great job of improving it and fixing it and making it feel a bit more classic Battlefield, a lot of players didn't want to look at it again. They didn't return. But the problem is that they need to take those 25 million players and get them all playing the new game. And the only way to do that is to deliver a fun, classic Battlefield game. Is that going to happen though? We'll have to wait and see. But that statement about it being one of their top priorities, but also it being one of the most ambitious projects in EA history, pretty big words there. This game has probably been worked on for the last 4 years or so, right? And I think it's going to be the biggest gap of a Battlefield game ever. It's usually 2 years. I know a few occasions it's been 1. I think it's been 3 once, but 4 years, man. Like, if this game comes out October, November next year, 2042 came out November 2021. That's a big gap, and they would have been working on this game before, so by the time it releases, it's had a lot of time to cook in the oven, and they've said in the past that there are multiple studios working on this. DICE will be leading the multiplayer. Ripple Effect, they're doing something new in the franchise, that's all they've said. narrative component. That was the Seattle studio, but they got shuttered, unfortunately. And they announced that Motive are making the single player now, along with DICE. Criterion are working on it too. The Frostbite Engine team, they're going to be pivotal in this. Maybe even Respawn too, because a couple of years ago, they did this article with GameSpot where they announced that Vince Zampella, who's the boss of Respawn, is going to be now leading Battlefield as well. So perhaps Respawn are working on this too in some respect. So there is a lot of teams and a lot of people working on this. I imagine they've spent a crap ton of money on it too. But as always, when I make these videos, earnings calls, this is marketing, this is hype speak, this is for investors. Don't read into it too deeply if you're a player. But obviously, EA are excited about it. It's very similar to the dialogue that was emerging from previous investors' calls before BF 2042 released though. And we know how that went, right? Excellent marketing, game released, buggy, laggy, many features missing. Didn't go down well, did it? So always take these things into account. DICE and EA have got an uphill battle for the next game. They've got to prove it, come out the gate swinging, and deliver on the promise of a fun Battlefield game. You know, it'd be sick, actually. I'm just kind of spitballing here, but imagine that there is no crazy CGI trailer. There is no big announcement. There's just a live stream where they show gameplay for the first time. They announce the game, they show gameplay. And at the end of it, they go, and if you want to play this, it's available now. There's a beta. It's available on Steam, EA, Xbox, PlayStation, Switch 2, baby. Why not? I don't think it's going to. Is the next BF game going to run on Switch 2? Probably not. But you get what I'm saying. Come and play it in the beta now for free. It's open. Anyone can sign up to it. And we're going to run the beta for a few months. Let you guys tinker, find a load of bugs, give some feedback, whatever. That'd be pretty cool in my opinion. And a bit different. And Battlefield fans definitely want the proof now. Also, you can't forget the elephant in the room now, which is Delta Force. I'm very lucky. I've played it a little bit. I think it's solid, and by the time the next Battlefield comes out, if it's performed well and been regularly updated and people are enjoying it, it will have established a big player base. A lot of the Battlefield players will enjoy Delta Force. I know, I'm a Battlefield player. I like Delta Force. It's going to have live service. It's going to be free to play. And in my opinion, Battlefield has never had a competitor like that before that's doing almost exactly the same thing. Yes, it doesn't have as much destruction, but the core gameplay, combined arms, 64 players, land, sea and air, large open maps, and the power of free-to-play should not be underestimated. Plus it's on console too. It's very Battlefield, and it's not hiding it either. So if those old fans who were playing a lot of BF3, BF4 back in the day are now addicted to Delta Force and they're buying the battle passes and they spend money on cosmetics, it might be way more reluctant to put 60 bucks down for the new Battlefield when other options are available for free. And who knows, by October, November next year, there might be even more Battlefield competitors out there. I guess we will just have to wait and see. And that's all, folks. Do let me know your thoughts below. Thank you. These kind of videos always drive a lot of engagement. People are very passionate about this subject. I don't know when EA are actually officially going to reveal the next Battlefield. If it's out end of next year, there might be an announcement in May or June 2025. Long time to go, but as I promised you guys, whenever there's just one tiny quarter portion of information about the next game, I'd share it with you. So there it is. Appreciate you watching once again. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you enjoyed the video, drop me a like, thank you. If you didn't like it, dislike it, that's fine. Subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.